Today I have this 12-inch wire frame. You can pick these up at the Dollar Tree. And I found this mesh at Dollar General. It's kind of in a rust color and a cream with the rust stripes. Very, it's in the fall section. And you want to start by having some zip ties. And you're going to go under the two rails on a crossbar and tie down your two pieces together, and this is going to be your beginning. Then you want to make a zip tie, and I measure about 3 or 4 inches, just something I have as a measuring tool as I'm going along. And you're going to use this to section off your mesh, and you're going to pinch it forward, go under the two crossbars with your zip tie, and tie it down. Again, you're going to measure out your mesh, push it forward, go under the two rails, and tie it down. Now, between each crossbar, you're going to have 4 what I call bubbles, or 4 zip ties, 4 tie downs. And you can make your length of mesh as long or as short as you want. The longer, the fuller, and that's just a good rule of thumb. So again, you're going to measure off your mesh, you're going to push it forward and tie it down. Now, once it's tied down, I separate my mesh, and if you can see, I'm doing a pattern. The first one, I did the cream to the left, the rust to the right. The second one, I did the rust to the left, the cream to the right, and just back and forth like that throughout your entire wreath. And then you want some sort of a tool that you can clip your zip tie with. And this is the 2 center rails, just so you kind of have a visual of what I mean by the 2 center rails. And that's where you're going to slip your zip tie underneath and tie down. And then you're going to separate your 2 different colors, and you're going to alternate one to the left and one to the right. One last time, you're going to measure off, push forward, go under the 2 center rails with your zip tie and tie down, and then separate your mesh. And you're going to do the same process all the way around. 1 roll of mesh usually can do 2 wreaths. If the second wreath, you maybe shorten it to 3 loops between each crossbar. Now this round 8-inch cardboard is from the cake aisle in Walmart or Hobby Lobby, and they fit perfectly inside the center of your wreath. You can tie them down with floral wire or a zip tie as well. Guys, a lot of times I just push it in there and I really don't have a problem with them falling out. And this Autumn Blessings box I got at the Dollar Tree. Usually most holidays they have different ones, and these things are great. They're great for centers of wreaths, but I could also just sit this wreath down on a table and stand the box up because it has the same image on both sides. Now the artificial pumpkins here that I picked up at Hannaford's. That's a grocery store in our area, very similar to a ShopRite, and they have a great floral section. And I grabbed these pumpkins and these cattail style little sprays. Somebody else probably knows the better word for these things. I'm not a professional wreath maker, but I am pretty decent at building them. And I put that styrofoam block for floral arrangements inside the box, and that's what I'm stabbing these different items, the pumpkin and the cattails, into. And I'm just kind of eyeballing it and making an arrangement that I think looks nice. You can use, obviously, anything that you like. Hobby Lobby has great artificial flowers, especially if you can get it at the 40% off. Now I'm just taking the hanger that came off this box and just gluing it into the upper left corner since it was the perfect color. And now we're going to go into the ribbon. I'm going to do this nice and slow for those of you that want to learn how to do a bow. If you want a tail to your bow, you kind of want to start with that first, as however long you want. Now I'm doing two different colors, and I did the tuxedo tails on either end, and I'm leaving maybe about 3 inches of tail, and then I'm going to start. I'm going to go a loop to the right, and I'm going to pinch in the center and hold it. I'm going to do a loop to the left, pinch in the center and hold it. You can manipulate your ribbon to make sure it's facing the right direction. You're going to twist it before you make your loop. And I'm going to do a loop to the right, hold it, and then I'm going to do a loop to the left. Now it's really personal choice how many loops you want for the particular style you want. I did 6 loops on this, so I'm going to do one last loop to the right. Make sure my ribbon's facing the right direction, and then a loop to the left. And I'm just holding everything. Now, the biggest tip of all is that you want ribbon that has a wired edge. So much easier to work with, and they come out much nicer. Now you're going to grab some floral wire and wrap it around the center portion that you've been pinching, and you're going to tie this really nice and tight. Now you can either leave long tails to your floral wire, and that's what you're going to connect to your wreath with, or you can grab another piece to hold down your bow on your wreath. I'm not too worried about making my bow perfect at this point. I'm just separating the two different ribbons like we did on the wreath mesh, kind of alternating the colors and separating them, and it's just going to make your bow nice and full. And then you're going to tie your bow to your wreath frame. Using the floral wire. And now you can take the time to straighten out your bow and fluff it up, and then decide if your tails are too long. If they are, you can cut them, and make sure you have your tuxedo tails or whatever ending you want on your ribbon on your ribbon tails. I really hope I'm making sense. I'm trying to go slower for those that have never done a wreath before or a bow before, so be patient with us. So I think this looks great just the way it is, but I just want to teach you some further ways of doing this. But I'm going to end this off with some raffia. I'm going to stick inside my box and kind of mix it in my pumpkins and my cattails. So the right side could be filled in a little bit more. So I started by putting a zip tie down, and I just started to zip it closed and then snuck a piece of the 2 ribbons in there. And I'm having them stick out about 3 inches on either side, and then adding the tuxedo tails to all the tips. And these are just little sprays of the ribbon, just to give the ribbon some balance. Again, you're going to slip your zip tie in. You're going to just start it and stop. You're going to take your 2 ribbons. You can put the tuxedo tails in before you slip it in. You're going to have it go in and hang out maybe about 3 inches. Tie it down, clip off your zip tie, cut the other end of your ribbon, and then put in your tuxedo tails. And I just did 4 of these on this right side just to give me some fullness in my wreath. Now, of course, these can be added prior to all your other items. I personally I don't always have a plan with my wreaths, so I'm just doing this as I'm going on along and just eyeing what I think should be filled in. I very rarely stick to a plan, guys. But just knowing the basis to a wreath, and the different things you can do, you guys can apply this to any wreath you want to make for any occasion or holiday. So this is going to be my last tie down. I felt like that one was a little too long, so I went in and cut a little bit more. And then you want to go around and make sure you remove all your zip ties that are hanging. I really hope you enjoyed this video. I hope it was helpful. If you'd like to see other tutorials, you can check us out on YouTube. You can watch all our videos at chalkitatefancy.com. And for paint products or brushes, chalkitatefancy.com.